Welcome AACPS teachers to November's Vodcast, brought to you by the Office of Instructional Technology. My name is Tracy Brown, and this month we're going to show you a little bit about using virtual field trips in the classroom. It's an opportunity for you to take your students around the world without ever leaving your classroom. A virtual field trip can be described as a guided exploration through the World Wide Web that organizes a collection of pre-screened, thematically based web pages into a structured online learning experience. In this month's podcast, we're going to showcase the following platforms: Google Earth, Discovery Education, Nearpod, Smithsonian Virtual Museum, as well as the Google Arts and Cultural Institute. So let's go ahead and get into our first showcased platform, Google Earth. The virtual field trip tools that teachers and students have to use in Google Earth include the option to search for a variety of destinations on Earth. You can add place marks to lead others to the destinations that you'd like them to travel to. And then there's a tool called Photos and Photospheres that allow the students to immerse themselves in the location that they are visiting. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to exit out of our presentation, and we are going to go into Google Earth to take a look at some of those features. So here on the screen, what you're seeing right now is the landing page when you first open the software program Google Earth. In the upper left-hand corner of my screen, I have a window to type in a destination that I would like to search for. We are going to begin today's virtual field trip here at the Carver Staff Development Center in Gambrills, Maryland. So I'm going to type in the address, select it, and then click the button to search for this location. And you are going to see my globe begin to turn as we are brought to this location on the map. And I can use the center scroll wheel on my mouse to move in closer to this destination, to adjust it so that it's in the center of my screen, make those other customized changes that I would like to. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a place mark to this location, and you're going to add that place mark by using this icon in the upper left-hand corner of your toolbar that looks like a push pin. And when you add your push pin, it's going to drop that onto the map. And then it's going to give you a box where you can add additional information, beginning with the name of this location. So I'm going to type in that this is the Carver Staff Development Center. And I have additional options to go along with this place mark where I could add a link to a web page, add images that are appropriate. We'll take a better look at those additional options in just a few minutes. So I'm going to click OK to add my location to the map. And you'll see over here on the left-hand side that under my places, it has added this location. In fact, it's added it twice because I did this previously before I was recording the Vodcast. So let's go ahead and do our second destination, and you can see how it begins to do a collection of places. So I'm going to click back in my search window, and the location that we're going to visit today on Google Earth is the Wielżyska salt mines in Poland. So I'm going to click on that location when it populates and then select search. And you'll see in just a moment our map will move again, and we are flying across the globe to be taken to this location. Once again, I can use the navigation tools to move in closer or further away from my destination, really customize the view so that I can see exactly what I would like to of this location. Once again, we're going to add the place mark so that we begin collecting these locations. So I'm going to click on my push pin tool to add a place mark, and I'm going to select that place mark and drag it right over here to where the existing marker is on the map. We get the window to add the additional media again, so I'm going to highlight right here and title it the Salt Mines. And this time we're going to go ahead and add a link as well as an image. So in preparation for setting up today's podcast, I did a search of a tourist site for the salt mines. I'm going to copy this link here and click on the button to add a link, and I'm going to paste in this URL and click OK. So that information has now been added in my media window, and we're also going to add an image. So once again, I'm going to go back out to the web, and I also did a search to locate an image, a close-up of one of the carvings featured in the salt mines. I'm going to copy this address and return to Google Earth. Click on Add Image, and I'm going to paste that image in before clicking OK. So now we see our second destination added here under My Places, and when the students click on it, they get the link to the website that we added. They can click on that. They can be taken out to the website. Here it's loaded, and they can see the information that this tourist site has about this location. And in addition to that, that photo that we added also loads on the screen. So this is what the students would see when they click on the destination. Now, once you've collected up all of the destinations that you'd like the students to visit, just like saving a Word document or any other file that you create on your computer, if you go to the File option in the upper left-hand corner of Google Earth, you can click File and save this file. And then the saved file could be shared with students who could access it, open it in Google Earth, and navigate through the tour on their own, seeing the additional media that you added. One more feature that I'd like to show you in Google Earth is the option to add photos to the environment that you're visiting. If we take a look at the menu option on the left-hand side, towards the bottom of my screen, you'll see the option Layers. Fifth down is a checkbox to add photos. And when I turn this on, these small icons will appear all over the screen that kind of look like a Polaroid picture. If you double click on one, the photos that have been uploaded will appear on your screen. Some of these are a collection of multiple photos, so you can see we can scroll through and look at several different photos. It tells us there are a total of 26 photos in this collection, and we can scroll through the thumbnails to see all of them. If you scroll in closer to the map, you'll see even more of these icons appear, indicating that there are pictures uploaded. And among these icons, you'll notice that some of them are in red. And these red icons indicate photospheres. And photospheres allow the students to enter into a 360-degree photo of this location. I can click down on my screen and drag to move my view so that it's like I were standing in the actual room in the salt mines, viewing the carvings, the other guests who were visiting at the time that this photo was taken. And it gives the students an immersive experience in this virtual field trip environment. When you are done inside of the photosphere, you can click Exit Photo in the upper right-hand corner, and you will be taken back to the view of Google Earth. The students from here could click on another one of the blue photos in order to view a static image or another red image to enter into another photosphere. So at this point, let's go ahead and leave Google Earth and let's return to our presentation for today. And let's take a look at the next platform that we will showcase on virtual field trips. So now we're going to transition to talking about Discovery Education and their virtual field trip tools. With Discovery Education, teachers and students can view live upcoming events where they can have video chats and discussions with authors, historians, public figures. There are also a collection of archived events. Instead of a live discussion, they can view the video recording of a previous virtual field trip. And then Discovery Education also includes a variety of suggested classroom activities to accompany their virtual field trip materials to extend the learning further for students. So once again, let's exit out of our presentation and let's take a look at those virtual field trip tools that Discovery Education offers for students. So here on the screen in the Vodcast, we have the landing page for Discovery Education loading. This is the page that you will see when you first log into the program. And hopefully it will load quickly for me. There we go. In the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you will see a menu option for My DE Services. And when you hover over this menu option, you'll get a pop-out and you'll find the virtual field trip tools under the Discovery Educator Network. So that's where we're going to click first. Once we go to the Discovery Educator Network, our menu options will change. We're going to select on the option here in the center of the screen for teachers, and our virtual field trip tools are about 2/3 of the way down in this pop-out menu. When you come to the page on virtual field trips, you've got some information at the top that tells you about Discovery Education's virtual field trip tools. At the bottom of this paragraph is a link to their calendar of events. There's also a field on the page here that shows you featured and upcoming virtual field trips. As I record this vodcast, it is November 30th of 2016. So we have an upcoming event on December 7th, a whole series of events featuring the Tundra coming up, as well as an option to participate in an election day virtual viewing party that has just passed. Then they have an option for you to search archived virtual field trip material by the subject area, the grade level, or even the theme or specific topic that you would like the students to focus on for today. So let's go back to the top of the page and let's start by taking a look at their calendar of events. As the calendar loads, you'll see 3 tabs at the top. Our current tab we are selected on is the calendar view. We can see everything that has taken place this month and will take place this month, in addition to scrolling forward to see what will take place in December and January, February, and so on. There's also an option to switch to a list view so that everything coming up in the recent future months will be available. And finally, there's an option to view the Archived Events tab, which will show you recently recorded virtual field trips where the students could engage by watching the video. So let's return to the virtual field trip landing page and take a look at some of the featured and upcoming events. So here we have an event that is ongoing. You'll see they're calling it an on-demand event where teachers and students can register as each of these sessions is offered. They are having a virtual viewing party all about the electoral process. Information here on how to watch their archived events, how to get involved in the discussion or see the discussion conversations that have taken place for these archived events. This one is featuring the platform's Twitter as well as Padlet. And then they have suggested viewing activities. What could you do with your students prior to watching this particular field trip, during the field trip event, or after the video? And finally, we have some related classroom resources. So 2016 results, everything you always wanted to know about the Electoral College, mock election tools, and so on. Once again, let's return to our virtual field trip landing page, and we'll take a brief look at the option to view archived events. Let's take a look at the technology events that have passed. Virtual tour of Lockheed Martin, National Energy Star Day, People of the White House, Science Fair. And you'll see Under each, a blue button that allows you to watch the archived events. So very easy to access these previously recorded virtual field trips. So at this time, let's leave Discovery Education. Let's return to our presentation material. And we're going to move on to the third platform that's being showcased in today's Vodcast. Next, we're going to talk about the online site Nearpod. With Nearpod, there are 360-degree interactive photos. These photos can be embedded along with questions, draw it activities, matching, and all of the other interactive features available through Nearpod when the teacher is creating their Nearpod presentation. So once again, let's exit out of our presentation and let's take a look at the virtual field trip tools available in Nearpod. So here on the screen now, you're seeing the landing page for Nearpod. This is the page you'll come to when you first log in. And we're going to click on the menu option, Create. On this page, I have the option to upload an existing PowerPoint or PDF to begin creating my Nearpod presentation, or I could click on the link in the upper left that says Add Slide to begin creating my presentation right here inside of this platform. When I click on Add Slide, in addition to just being able to create presentation slides, if I click on Add Content, one of the options that loads for me in the bottom right-hand corner is the field trip content that Nearpod has. When the field trip page loads, they will show you several of the destinations that are currently being featured on Nearpod. These are probably the most recent to have been uploaded. And you could click on any of these destinations and you get a preview box at the bottom of your screen. Just as we saw with the photospheres in Google Earth, when this image loads on my page, it is an interactive 360-degree photograph, which means the students can click and drag to change their view as though they were actually standing, or in this case, submerged in the water with these divers around them, viewing the sea anemones. If you like this particular field trip and you'd like to add it to your presentation, you can click on Done. If this is not the image that you're looking for, you can click the back button to return to the variety of different images that are available and search for a different image. We're going to go ahead and click Done and add this one to our presentation. And you could click on Add Slide once again and return to Add Content, back to the field trip, and bring in a second and third image so that the students could experience a variety of different images at a particular location. If you are studying something specific, you even have the option at the top here to search for a destination. So let's say my students were doing a unit on Japan and Japanese culture. If I do a search for something simple like the country of Japan, I get lots of results for locations in and around the country of Japan. Once again, we can click on a particular image and choose Preview to be taken into the 360-degree environment in this photo. And if you like it, if it's what you want to add to your presentation, you click on Done. And I now have two different field trip images in the same presentation. Once again, don't forget that these field trip images can be used in addition to the other features in Nearpod. So while you're creating that interactive presentation in Nearpod, I can have the field trip content along with my presentation content, along with the variety of tools that Nearpod offers for students to engage, like polls, Quizits, Drawits, etc. So let's exit out of Nearpod and return to our presentation and move on to our next virtual field trip platform for today. Next, we're going to look at the Smithsonian's Virtual Museum. In their virtual museum, there are interactive 360-degree photos, as we've seen in some of the other tools today. These are complete with an interactive map. They have an area known as their permanent exhibits. They also have past exhibits, artifacts that are no longer on display at the museum but can be toured virtually. Then they have an area known as Other Museums that also features some behind the scenes of artifacts that aren't currently on display but can be viewed where they are in storage. So once again, let's exit out of our presentation and let's take a look at the Smithsonian Virtual Museum. The Natural History Museum is showcased. That is here at the top under our permanent exhibits. If we scroll down to the past exhibits, we can see things that are no longer on display at the Natural History Museum, but again, they have been archived in these images. And then we have that behind the scenes area, in addition to the other museums that Smithsonian has featured. So let's start with our permanent exhibits. As this loads, we have a 360-degree image of the entrance into the Natural History Museum. Just as we've seen with the other 360-degree photos we've been viewing today, you can click and drag to move the picture. On the floor of the museum, you'll see these blue arrows. If the students were to click on a blue arrow, that is one way that they can navigate and move from one 360-degree picture to the next. In the upper right-hand corner of my screen, you'll also notice a map. And on the map are these blue circles that indicate all of the locations that they have captured these 360-degree images. So by clicking on the blue circles, the students can also navigate to the different locations and view the pictures and images there. As you click on the map and navigate around the museum, you'll see those check marks placed over top of the locations that students have already visited so that they aren't doubling back over or retracing their steps. In addition to clicking on the circles in the map, you have the option to visit the ground floor of the museum, the first floor of the museum, where we were just a moment ago, as well as the second floor, where they would be able to visit the gems and minerals, the butterfly hall, and locations like that. Finally, the last option that students have for navigating is through the slides that appear across the bottom of the screen. They can click on a location to move directly to that hall and that exhibit. And once again, it places the check mark on the map so that they know which locations they've visited as they navigate around and see the different exhibits. So let's exit out of their permanent exhibit. And let's scroll down and visit the past exhibits to see the variety of field trips that the students can experience here. So they have past exhibits from their fossil hall that feature dinosaurs, early life, sea life. And then they have a past exhibit known as Western Cultures, Cyprus, the Genome Project, and so on as we scroll down the screen. If you find a particular past exhibit that you would like to visit, once again, you simply click on the thumbnail and it loads. We have the 360-degree images. Where the students can turn and view all sides of this exhibit from the time when it was on display. Missing from the past exhibits is the map, as well as the slides at the bottom of the screen that allow students to navigate. I have seen a handful of the past exhibits that have the arrows on the floor that allow them to move to different views of the exhibit. This one does not seem to have that option to leave this particular photo and enter into a different part of the exhibit. So let's exit out of the past exhibits. And let's take a look at the other National Museums of Natural History, as well as the Smithsonian behind the scenes. They are currently featuring the butterfly habitat gardens. Once again, students can click on the thumbnails to be taken to the location in the butterfly gardens. And if we exit out of this image, we have the behind the scenes. So this is showcasing all of the different artifacts that are donated to the museum and how they are stored when they are not on display. We do not have the map feature, but we do have the slides across the bottom of the screen that allows us to change our view to see different types of artifacts housed at the museum. All right, so let's exit out of the Smithsonian and return back to our presentation so that we can see our next virtual field trip tool. Finally, today we're going to talk about the Google Cultural Institute, also known as Google Arts and Cultural Institute. On this website, we have virtual museum exhibits with still photos that include captions and additional media incorporated. You'll find virtual tours that allow students to enter into 360-degree interactive photos. And Google Arts and Cultural Institute also includes 360-degree videos in their performing arts exhibit. So for the last time, let's exit out of our presentation so that we can go out to this website and view the virtual field trip content. Once again, here we are on the landing page. When you first come to the website, you'll have an area at the top known as the Daily Digest. It will show you exhibits that they are showcasing today. There are stories of the day, which feature artists. We have an area known as the virtual tours. There's always a featured project, changes monthly. This month happens to be Women in India. You have the option to zoom in and closely examine artwork, and so on as we scroll down. So let's return to the top of the page and take a closer look at some of the different museum exhibits. We will start with the artists' lives and take a look at Marina Abramovic, if I said that correctly, who was born on November 30th, 1946. So let's learn a little bit about this artist. When we click on it, we see her information. They have exhibits here that feature her institute, the Holland Festival. We can see some of her artwork. Art movements, as well as a section here on more mediums. Here's her work in gems, stones, and crystals. So the students can experience a variety of art from these featured exhibits. Let's scroll down to the section on virtual tours. There are several locations that are currently featured, as well as an option to view all of the virtual tours that are available on the Cultural Institute. When you locate a tour, you can click on the thumbnail, and these again are 360-degree photographs that load on the screen, just as we've seen with the other virtual field trip tools. Once the photo loads, students can click on the screen to drag and change their view to see different parts of the scene. One of the differences is that if you hover on the ground, you'll get these arrows. And when you click on one of the arrows, it allows you to actually move in that direction in the scene. So the students can change their view not simply by turning and looking, but by actually following the paths to different locations at these scenes. So let's return back to the Cultural Institute again, and let's take a look at our 360-degree videos. The upper left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see this icon that is represented by 3 small horizontal lines. When you click on it, it gives you a pop-out menu. In this pop-out menu, the 4th option from the top is Projects. And we have some of the same exhibits being featured on the home page, but if you scroll down a little on the projects page, you'll come to the Performing Arts exhibit. In this exhibit, the students have that opportunity to enter into a 360-degree video. So I'm going to click to launch the experience. And currently on the Cultural Institute, as the page loads, we'll see that they have 4 360-degree tours in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I'm going to click here to see the different options that are currently available. We can go to the Philharmonic, Carnegie Hall. I think we'll do Royal Shakespeare Company today. So as the experience loads, it's going to come up with an introduction. The introductions typically last 1 to 2 minutes, or you can click the continue button in the bottom right-hand corner to move from the introduction to the live 360-degree video. The students have the option to move to different camera views by clicking on the 2 and 3 at the bottom of the screen. And this is a 360-degree video. So they can also turn and change their view while in the video as well. So let's exit out of our 360-degree video and return to our presentation for the last time. So suppose you're very interested in some of the virtual field trip tools that you've seen today, but you just don't feel like you know enough about Discovery Education or Google Earth or Nearpod in order to engage in the content to use that virtual field trip tools. How can I learn more about those resources so that I can make use of them with the virtual field trip tools? The first place that we suggest is that you begin with our Blackboard technology resources page. So when you log into Blackboard, the menu option at the top of your page allows you to click on Tech Resources. And then you'll see a hyperlink in the center top of the page for our Technology Resources site. When this page loads down the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see these purple buttons that indicate all of the instructional technology tools that we feature in the district. Under Discovery Education, Google Earth and Nearpod, you'll find general resources that would help you learn more about any of those particular tools so that you could use all of those resources in addition to just the virtual field trip tools that we showcased today. Another option that you have to learn more about these is to attend some of our upcoming events. November 29th of 2016, we are hosting an event on Nearpod. January 10th of 2017, we are hosting an event on Google Earth. January 11th of 2017, we are hosting an event on Discovery Education. If those specific dates don't work for you, you can do a search on ERO for offerings by the Office of Instructional Technology, or you could search specifically for Nearpod, Google Earth, and Discovery Education to see upcoming events for each of those topics. Also, look for our December Vodcast, which is going to feature both the Smithsonian Learning Lab as well as the Google Cultural Arts Institute. So I would like to thank you all very much for watching today's Vodcast. I'd like to invite you to follow us on Twitter at AACPS OIT, and on Pinterest at pinterest.com/AACPSOIT. And now it's your turn, teachers. Get traveling.